What's going on, guys, and welcome back to Top 10 Nerd. Jupiter's Legacy just dropped on Netflix. It's been sitting at that #1 spot all weekend, but what exactly is this new superhero show? We just flew through Invincible, so now we need something else to sink our teeth into. I'm your host, Taylor McWaters, and on today's video, we'll be breaking down the 10 things you need to know about Jupiter's Legacy, and of course, spoilers will be included, so you've been warned. Kicking off the list at number 10. Number 10, comic book origins. So the series came from Image Comics back in 2013, the same company that blessed us with The Walking Dead and Invincible, which just killed it on Amazon Prime. So we get another new show, this time it's over on Netflix. So Mark Millar and Frank Quietly created Jupiter's Legacy, and they're also attached to the show as producers, which is a good sign. Jupiter's Legacy was the first collaboration between Millar and Quietly since 2001's The Authority. Now, Mark Millar wanted this to be an epic story, just like Lord of the Rings or Star Wars, and the story does span quite a long time. Millar calls Jupiter's Legacy his love letter to superheroes. So where does the story begin? Well, it begins over 90 years ago. Number 9, The Island. Jupiter's Legacy story begins back in 1932 when a young man named Sheldon Sampson lost everything in the Wall Street crash in 1929. So he took this charter to a mysterious island just off the coast of Africa. Now the island appears to him in his dreams, so he followed his feeling, he followed this thought, and he believed that this idea will hold the key to saving the country. Now he didn't travel alone, however. He went with his brother Walter, fiancee Grace, and a handful of friends from school. They ended up finding this mysterious island's location and charted out for it. Now at first, the ship's captain didn't want to go there. He knew the waters quite well, he knew it was a rough area, and he also knew that the island doesn't exist, so he was like, nope, 3 nopes, not going. But eventually, he was persuaded. Now the crew arrived and Sheldon led them up the side of the mountain to this doorway. Now this doorway led them to another dimension, but first, they all received superpowers. Sheldon Sampson went from down in his luck businessman to the Utopian, one of the first superheroes ever, played by the handsome Josh Duhamel in the live action series, of course. And before we go on with this list, guys, if you want to go ahead and give this video a thumbs up, that would be great. It really supports us out, especially as we're working from home. You guys are the best. Thank you so much. And if you haven't already subscribed, you might as well do that while you're here. Thank you guys so much. Let's not waste any more of your time and jump right back into this list. Number 8, Lady Liberty. Grace Sampson was among the crew that got these superpowers. She went to school with Sheldon when they were young, and eventually they got married. Leslie Bibb plays her in the show, and she's a reporter turned supermom. Lady Liberty obtains the powers of flight, super speed, super strength, agility, enhanced visions, the whole super package, same as her husband. Now before she was married with super kids, she was a successful businesswoman and liked to spend her weekends in the tropics reading books instead of partying. She married Utopian Sheldon and had 2 kids, Chloe and Brandon. Her powers are fun and pretty mom-like. She can sense when someone is lying on top of being practically unbeatable. Makes a pretty good combo. Pretty threatening combo. Now, this isn't the first time Leslie Bibb has been in the superhero spotlight either. She played Christine Everhart in Iron Man 1 and 2, but now she gets to dive much deeper into this role. She said it felt Shakespearean a little bit, almost like a family drama when she first read the script. Even saying with the story spanning that many years, it felt like Mad Men meets Justice League, which is a pretty good pitch, if you ask me. Number 7, Chloe Sampson. She's the daughter of the Utopian and Lady Liberty. Alina Kampouris plays her in the Netflix series, and this show is all about, well, your legacy. The legacy that you leave behind, and that comes in the shape of children, especially children with superpowers. But she doesn't really have the same goals as her parents. She's not really into the hashtag super life. She doesn't even have an alter ego or cape or anything. She wants nothing to do with that charade. But she does pack a mean punch. Like her parents, she too can fly, run extremely fast, bench press a bus, but she chooses to hit up nightclubs instead. Chloe has a non-confrontational nature and does work with charities, but she does this in order to please her mother. She has a tough time with relationships because she always compares them to her parents' marriage and everything that they stand for. She's in her 20s, and Millar wanted her to be in the shadow of her parents. He liked the idea of exploring what it would be like to grow up as the kids of the 2 most famous and beloved people on the planet. She's like the Chet Hanks of the family, in a way, you know? Number 6, Brandon Sampson. And then there's her brother, Brandon. Now, he uses his family as a way of receiving endorsement deals. He likes to hang out with the superhero groupies. He's into it. His father actually tries to get him to be more of a superhero, like to really lean into it, because he, of course, also obtains these fantastic Superman-like abilities. But Brandon feels like all the cool battle stuff was done in the past. almost like he's a bit too late to the party. See, back then, his parents were the hot heroes in town. He's almost bummed because the best villains died like 20 years ago. And on top of that, he felt like his father's absence growing up while fighting said cool bad guys had something to do with it as well. So he doesn't feel ready enough in every aspect of his life. But like his father, he too can fly into outer space and do all that cool super stuff. And yes, if it came down to it, he could probably take his father in a fight. Number 5, Walter Sampson. Walter Sampson, aka Brainwave, is Sheldon's brother, who was among the crew that discovered the mysterious island back in 1932. Flight, super speed, super strength, that's all given, but he has psychic powers that allow him to separate somebody's mind from their physical body. After that, he imprisons them in a psychic painting of his choosing. He's a trickster of sorts. He creates these psychic illusions and straight up gives people aneurysms. His powers work on everybody except Sheldon. And Millar describes the character saying, he isn't as strong or as handsome as his famous sibling, and he lacks charisma, but he's thoughtful and very aware of his legacy as he hits old age. He's looking around at the financial crash and wondering if he can help in ways other than rescuing kittens from trees and all those nice things that superheroes do. He has the super alter ego, but he also tries fixing global problems by climate engineering, eliminating income tax, and banning all religions. If you read the comics, Uncle Walter is pretty nuts. He's a pretty nuts guy. Number 4, Skyfox. George Hutchins, aka Skyfox, was a close friend of Sheldon's back in the day, the early 1900s. Their relationship goes back before the spandex and monologue. But since then, they have had their differences. Now, his costume is pretty fun. It kind of reminds me of a purple Batman almost. He was the son of a wealthy father, and unfortunately, he suffers from alcoholism, which he says he got from his father as well. Now, he's a little bit of a wild character. He once got in a fist fight with Blue Bolt because, well, they disagreed on who was better between Ernest Hemingway and James Joyce. And then once he challenged Walter Simpson, aka Brainwave, to a fencing duel. And then when the loser, Walter, had to run naked through Central Park, Skyfox ended up joining Brainwave anyways. So he's kind of fun like that. Fun, I'd say. The public sees Skyfox as sort of a sex symbol on the team. He of course can fly and do all the normal super stuff, but his knowledge of technology is what sets him apart from the rest of the team. Number 3, Blue Bolt. Another member of the original 6 from that life-changing voyage. Richard Conrad, aka Blue Bolt, possessed the power of flight, and he also carries a power rod with him where he can use energy as a weapon. He began his life as a surgeon at the St. Thomas Presbyterian Hospital in LA. His family comes from San Francisco politics. Now, Richard is also in the Hollywood scene. He is a closeted homosexual who patronizes male prostitutes. Katharine Hepburn is a close friend of Richard's and actually encourages Richard to not hide his homosexuality. And then when FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover was trying to bring down the team under his control, he actually blackmailed Richard after discovering his secret identity. He also wanted to know his teammates' secret identity, and Richard didn't give them up. He decided that he couldn't even live with that blackmail, so he attempted to take matters into his own hands and take his own life. Now, fortunately, he was rescued by his other teammate, Fitz, who just happened to stop by at the time. The team took a vote to see if Richard was stable enough to rejoin the team, and the only person that opposed to this idea was Uncle Walter, aka Brainwave. Number 2, Fitz. The 6th member of the team, Fitz, aka the Flare, was the one who rescued Blue Bolt. Now, when Fitz was just 9 years old, his father abandoned him and his mother, and right off the bat, he had this idea that nothing lasts forever. He learned that horrible idea at a young age. And his love life actually ended up being a bit messy as well. At 21 years old, he met a young woman named Joyce. They fell in love, got married, had 3 kids, and then down the road when his youngest was still a toddler, Fitz met this 19-year-old woman named April Kelly. They met after a big battle in the Midwest, and he took her on sort of as a sidekick, and it didn't take long for a romance to spark up between the two. He felt like he didn't have anything in common with Joyce anymore, I guess other than the 3 kids, you know? So he tried to get her to join the team, but they refused. I mean, for one, she doesn't have any superpowers to begin with, and 2, their affair was pretty public and a little uncomfortable. Sheldon even tells Fitz to end the affair or else he had to be fired from the team. He does so, but then like right after, he immediately changes his mind, even divorcing Joyce for real and then proposing to April in the process. After this, the team had little to do with him. And finally, number 1, the Union of Justice. So these 6 travel to the island together. We have Sheldon Sampson, Grace Sampson, Walter Sampson, Richard Conrad, Fitz Small, George Hutchins, and now they're the Utopian, Lady Liberty, Brainwave, Blue Bolt, the Flare, and Skyfox. They formed a team called the Union of Justice. Now, there are rules in place so no super being can just rise up and take over. And one of those rules is the same rule as Batman's. No killing people. We have to handle things in an appropriate manner. We can't just take out bad guys, then they turn to dust, and then we fly off and salute people. No, we can't do that. We gotta just do it the right way, put them in jail safely, you know, no laser eyes. We can't be doing laser eyes on people. See, most superheroes have this rule, but when it's accidentally broken, plus family drama, well, we get a pretty wild story. Another rule is that they can't use their powers to seek fame. Their secret identities just had to be that. They had to be secret. That's why Blue Bolt was willing to die. He was holding on to those secrets. Now, Sheldon and his daughter Chloe have disagreements when it comes to this idea in the show, but you have to watch it to find out. Guys, are you watching Jupiter's Legacy on Netflix? Have you read the comments? Guys, let us know all your thoughts down in the comment. Thank you so much for watching. I've been your host, Taylor McWaters, and join us next time on Top 10 Nerd. You're the best. Stay safe out there. Peace.